Ladies and gentlemen, the true Emperor of Lassie.
Thank you all for holding your applause. Frankly, I do not deserve any of that right now. And for those of you at home who applauded me, I respect that either way though. I really appreciate it though. But for those that didn't though, just the same as well, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, and to all of my Lassie and Concorders, I am Chito2500's, as some of you, if not most of you, may know. And of course, happy belated New Year of 2025. Yes, I know that the New Year's craze is over, and yes, I know some of you are, getting started on your resolutions or finishing your resolutions though, but there is a good reason why I am this late though. And of course, the rest of the reasons why I am late is basically no excuse to me whatsoever, okay? I'm late, okay? And that's all there is. But two things I'm going to say before I begin though. It's never too late, honestly, to do this right now. And if you haven't noticed yet though, yes, I am fashionably late while I'm at it though. And yes, I know that sounds cringe. I know you're going to make some kind of meme of this or whatever, but frankly, I really don't give a shit. Okay, do whatever you want. Okay, so there is some things that I'm going to add to it though. So not only will I do new resolutions and some ongoing resolutions though, of course, I'm going to tell you my completed resolutions that I've done so this year of 2025. So I'm going to start with the completed resolutions that I did. As you may have noticed though, if some of you are paying attention though, you don't hear any chirping. And that is because I finally removed that alarm a few months back, okay? I found out the cause of it though. I had to replace it, okay? And I haven't replaced it just yet because, there's still a lot of work to be done around me. And of course though, I made some repairs on my computer as well, okay? It was making all that grinding noise, my battery was fucked up. So I took it to my computer place, I got the parts that I need. So yeah, my computer's brand spanking new, well almost brand spanking new, and ready to rock and roll, okay? So those are some of the completed New Year's resolutions that I did. So I made good on my promises though. And of course, I plan to complete more of my resolutions later on in the year, okay? So you're probably wondering why I am this late, okay? And I think it's about time I tell you, okay? And it all has to do with my health, okay? I'm getting older, okay? So of course I'm gonna have more health problems as I go, okay? So a few weeks ago, before the new year of 2025, right? I was hospitalized for the first time in my life, okay? And I thought to myself before that, I don't need no hospital. Nothing's gonna happen to me. Oh, I'm a big boy. I can handle anything that comes in my way. Now, for those of you that know me a lot well, though, I can be stubborn at times, okay? I will stick to my beliefs like glue, okay? And I do not like asking for help for anything, okay? I'm an independent guy, okay? And speaking of independence, though, right? One of you guys years ago asked me while I was leading Lassie, why do you have a clan though? And for a long time though, I thought I gave a right answer, but it turns out I did not. The truth is though, I didn't know at the time, okay? And I finally have an answer for that, okay? The reason why I have a clan in the first place is because, part of me, wants to, keep Lassie going and to leave a legacy, okay? And of course though, another part of me, wants you guys to not be sucked into the norm of, suck my, like, I don't want you guys to have an image that all clans are like that, okay? Like, I want to, get the stereotype out of the way, though. Not all the clans are the same. Not all clans are going to act like this and everything. I just want you to know that there's a clan that actually fucking cares about you, okay? That will actually encourage you to improve your life, okay? And I've done that for almost 15 years already, okay? And speaking of 15 years, though, this year, October 21st of 2025, will be Lassie's 15-year anniversary. And you could argue that we are now a generation old. That's crazy. We lived through a whole generation, okay? But more on that a little bit later, though. So let's get back to my reason, okay? So, yeah, how did it happen? I'll tell you. So a month before, right? While I was doing my new job, right? Because I got a job like last year and everything. So for context and for not breaching any contracts, though, I work on party boats, and I guess and you could put all the pieces together afterwards. Anyway, back to it. So while I was putting on the water and sewage, right? And as I was shimmying across, though, like imagine a big rubber pillar, right? That stops the boat, right? And then the boat itself is right on my back, right? So while I was, shimmying across, right, trying to get to the thing, right? Because I have to go in between those 2 points, right? So while I was halfway through, right, all of a sudden the tide went up, right? And then all of a sudden the boat and the rubber crushed me for a good five or so seconds, right? Before the tide came back and then released me from it, though. So I had a life jacket on to absorb some of the blow. And of course, though, I have a good tolerance of pain, right? So I didn't think nothing of it. And yeah, so that was just one part of it, though. The other part was what happened a week or two later, right? So while I was volunteering in my local soup kitchen, right, one of my volunteers asked me for help with something, right? So I stopped what I was doing, right? I tried to go around the metal table, the ones with those rectangular points, and that on the corners is like those big sharp points. So I thought I went around the table completely, but it turns out, though, I didn't notice that I bumped into my right stomach here. And I know I can't show the right stomach, so it's okay. So I thought it nicked me, though, but because, there's a lot of work to be done, though, I kind of ignored it and everything. And then gradually combine those two incidents together, and then you have, a big lump on the right side of my stomach, okay? So on the right side of my stomach, right? Yeah. So there was this big, swelled up, lump, right? And then, some pus was coming out, right? And for those of you that know, it's kind of like that, liquid or whatever, or that little substance that comes out. It's basically like when you pop a pimple, it's like all that white stuff comes out. So yeah, that's kind of the context of it, though. So yeah, it started continuously oozing out pus, and I thought, okay, maybe if I drain some of it, though, maybe I'll find some relief. But then it started growing and growing slowly and everything, and I was in pain at one of these days, okay? So the final straw came when I was trying to go to sleep, right? It woke me up in the middle of the night, and I was in so much pain, and I decided, you know what? Fuck this, I'm going to a hospital, okay? So I needed some help coming. My folks, drove me to the hospital. It's like literally like 10 blocks away, but the 10 short blocks. It's all good. And yeah, I told them what happened. Waited a while, well, for a good long while actually, and then I was admitted for the first time in my life. So I stood there for almost 2 weeks, right? And during those 2 weeks, right, docs came in and told me, right, that had I not come in, whatchamacallit, that time, I would have been dead a few days later. And when I heard that, though, I was like, no. I was shocked to my core, okay? To think that I was just this close to death, okay? Now, some of you may think, oh, it's not getting worse than being shot, stabbed, this or that and everything. But those are things that you could see, okay? Those are incidents that you couldn't witness. For me, though, right, this was something that I cannot witness, that I cannot see. I was dying from the inside, okay? And I didn't even know it, okay? So what they did is they performed surgery, right? They drained out all the pus. It was an abscess, right? At the end of it, though. And then later on, though, I was diagnosed with cellulitis, a bacterial infection. So yeah, they prescribed me antibiotics, it started going away, I started feeling better, and I was discharged then and there. So one of these resolutions that I'm about to say is a direct cause of it, though. So now I can say my resolutions. But before I do, though, I'm okay. I know I'm late. I apologize. And for those of you that try to contact me, though, I'll get to you in just a bit, okay? So my first resolution, right, which is one of my newer ones, right, is to prioritize my own health, okay? because of that hospital stay, right? I have been trying to be very much more careful with myself, okay? And part of the reason why I say this is because I'm stressed out as it is, okay? There's a lot of things on my plate that I have to do it, right? B, this new job of mine that I got last year though is really, really affecting my health in a way. And the reason why is because of one good reason, right? My schedule is inconsistent. And what I mean by inconsistent is that I don't have the same schedule each and every day. Like I wake up, I go to work at a certain time, I stay, and then I exit work at a certain time. No, it's not like that. So one day I'll go to work at a certain time, right? That's one day, right? But then the next day I go in way later, right? But then sometimes, I stay because there are certain aspects of that job that requires me to stay, right? Because I have to wait until the other, co-workers finish up and leave before I have to do my work and lock up the boat and all that stuff, right? And that's pretty much, why I've been like a little tired and stressed out lately and everything. But yet sometimes, right, there are days where I don't go home at all, right? So I have to be like, I'm going to walk around somewhere and just wait until the next day begins, okay? That caused a bunch of irregularities, on my sleep schedule, my health, and everything. It's crazy, okay? So yeah, which leads me to number 2 of my New Year's resolution, right? Find a new job. I cannot take it anymore, okay? I hate my job to the fullest, okay? Thankfully, the people that I work with though are nice, okay? But there are some of those, especially who are in the higher ups though, just don't really give a shit about you at all, okay? One of them had the nerve, right, to tell me look it up on Google, whatever. When I asked the guy, where's this place where I'm supposed to go to, right? He told me, look it up on fucking Google. And I wanted to curse that motherfucker out. I wanted to fucking curse him out. But because this was my only job though, I kind of stood shut and just moved on, okay? That was, and everything. But all in the past now, whatever. I really don't give a shit. So yeah, I've been looking furiously every single day, just like everybody else, looking every single day, okay? Because frankly though, all of us had enough, okay? I am so sick of the job market that it is today though, okay? They say that everything is all great and everything's all that. Well, all of us know that it's a big fat lie, okay? Now, remember, if you all remember, it's about who you know, but what you know and everything. Now it's more into who you know, okay? Thankfully, I have some good connections though. Hopefully they'll pan out soon. But for now though, I just have to survive in the current job that I'm in and hope for the best in the future, okay? So yeah, that's pretty much, all there is to it though for this one, okay? And of course though, my third and final New Year's resolution of the new category is to try to reconnect with old friends and family, okay? Now, because of my hospital visit back then, though, I was in a depression for a while, okay? A deep depression, okay? I didn't feel like doing anything, though. Like, I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to, say hi, hey, and how are you, though? And when I play on my Xbox or whatever, and I look at some people's messages, though, and they ask me if I'm all right, though, hey, sure, I'll talk to you for a bit, though. But then for the others, though, I kind of look at it and be like, whatever. So, yeah, like I said before, I apologize for that, though. I do want to reconnect with you guys. It's just that at the time, I just didn't know how to face you. And that's about it, though, okay? And that includes my clan of the sea as well, though. It's been a long time since I've spoken with any of them, okay? And I wondered, how are they? A simple hello and how are you should suffice, right? But they deserve a lot more than that, though, all right? And it's my responsibility to be like, hey, let's just reconnect together and all that stuff and everything. And if you're busy, that's okay. And if you're free, that's cool too. So that's one of my New Year's resolutions, though, okay? And I know I said the completed ones, so let's move on to the ongoing ones, okay? Okay, there's a few ongoing ones that I would like to address, though, and this is to find love, okay? I know I've been single for almost a long time, okay? And yeah, I have, from a few girlfriends here that, yes, I am a good-looking guy. Let's not get it twisted, okay? But it's just that, some of the girls that I've dated either were a little bit crazy or a little bit obsessed or just plain cringe, you know what I mean? And speaking of cringe though, 2 years ago, right, I kind of like broke it off with one of the girls and everything. And to be quite honest with you, I've never seen her face and I never even talked to her on the phone and everything. The reason why I broke that up is because I thought she was a fucking scammer, okay? I mean, can you blame me? Okay? But the strange part about it is though that she never asked me for a single dime, okay? Because most scammers will do anything for money or for this and that because money makes the world go around, right? So this particular one is the attention-seeking scammer, right? They just want to waste your fucking time for no reason, okay? So recently though, this same one came back though. We'll dub her Chrissy for this one, okay? So Chrissy came back, right? Thinking, oh, I'm gonna reconnect. Oh, you're ready to do this and that and everything. I forgot what happened 2 years ago, so I thought, okay, sure, I'll give it another shot, right? Second chances, right? Let's just give it that, right? It took only a few days for me to realize that that was a fucking wrong choice, okay? Because one, I now remembered why I partly broke up, why I partly left her, is because she has a fetish for male semen. Come on. Like, that's crazy though. Oh, she wants to see me. She see my private parts. She wants to see this. She wants to see that. And I'm like, I didn't see you, okay? I haven't even met you in person yet. You really think I'm gonna do that? Hell no. Absolutely not. Ugh. And then she had the nerve to say, oh, but you don't love me. Oh, you're not serious. Hello? Like, these are my rules, okay? And if you don't like them, then you can find somebody else. And to reiterate on those rules, right? You have to either A, show up in a neutral location, right, where there's lots of witnesses. Talk to me by voice or by video, okay, so I know that you're real. And 3, and most importantly, you have to be genuine about it though, and not be with me for financial gain or whatever. Cause that's what some of you girls are after, financial gain. And yet some of you, right, have impossible standards for us men to, fulfill, okay? 6 figures. Oh, you gotta be this. Oh, you gotta be that. Ew. No. And that's why I remain single for most of the time, because some of you girls are fucking ridiculous, like crazy. But the reason why I say some is because I know that not all girls are like that though, because I know there's some of you good ones out there, and that's why my ongoing resolution for that one is to find love with a good girl at least. I had a good girl. She moved away, several states. Never saw her again. But I did make a promise to find someone that would treat me as good as she did. Okay, and I'm still keeping that promise. Okay. All right, so my next ongoing resolution, right, is to, that's a good one, is to continue the clan of Lassie, okay? Lassie in the Xbox form, right, is pretty much dead in a way, okay? And the reason why I say this is because we're just too busy nowadays, in our real lives. We're almost a generation old, okay? And speaking of generation, though, our 15-year anniversary is coming up on October 21st of 2025. I may have said this already, but I'm going to say it again for reiteration purposes, okay? And the main reason why Lassie, in the Xbox clan is pretty much dead is because it's for the simple fact that we all grew up, okay? We're not the little kids and teenagers that we used to be anymore, okay? We're not, the little kids and teenagers with responsibilities or shit like that and everything. We're adults now with real life jobs and real life priorities and real life of this and real life of that. There's just so many things we have to juggle. We barely have time to entertain ourselves, okay? It's just a simple fact, okay? And for those of you that say, oh, this and that, oh, get a real job, oh, this and that. And for those of you that say you still live in your mama's basement or whatever, come on, get real, okay? Fact of the matter is, the main reason why some of y'all said that is because you might be in that situation as well, okay? So let's get it real, okay? But yeah, though, that's my ongoing resolution of, trying to reconnect and everything, okay? And yeah, I'm trying to reconnect in a way that, hey, I'm going to speak to you guys again and everything. But I am going to continue the clan of the sea, like I said, though. And of course, though, it's time for me to find an heir to the sea, okay? I'm not going to be around much longer to lead it, though, okay? And this And this year coming up, though, will be a decision I have to make. Either I end it at the 15-year mark or try to go for 20 years, okay? So meaning that if I decided to stay as a leader of Lacido, I have to make this last for 5 more years. And that is not easy though, okay? Let's just be real. It is not that easy to do, okay? But anyways though, that's my ongoing resolution for this one. And my final ongoing resolution, right? And I'm going to just say this though, is to... It's quite simple really though. I have to learn how to stop being so stubborn and to ask for help, okay? Because quite frankly though, my own stubbornness got me killed, okay? My own stubbornness almost got me killed. I meant to say it almost got me killed. I'm sorry about that. And if it weren't for my, you know, my caving into asking for help and everything, I would not be here today. I would not be here standing right in front of you, okay? And speaking of standing here in front of you, I stood in front of this camera many times, okay, trying to figure out what to say, okay? And I had to do a retake and a retake and a retake. And you know, like, it's hard, okay, really, okay? And I don't have a paper right in front of me per se, though. I'm speaking from within the heart, okay? That's how I'm so good at this, okay? Because I've learned to speak without a script right in front of me. But anyway, continuing on the final New Year's resolution, though. It's not an overnight thing, okay? Trying to be less stubborn and asking for help is not an easy thing for me to do, okay? Because I'm more of a traditional kind of guy, you know, that's kind of like stuck to his old ways. I have a routine, okay? And I will do anything to stick to that routine, okay? And if I don't, though, I get headaches, I feel dizzy, that sort of thing, okay? So it's a must for me, okay? But lately, though, I have been, you know, doing just that and everything, and I'm making good progress, okay? But let it be warned, right, that if you try to, like, help me in a way, though, there is a chance that I might snap and everything and be like, I don't need your help, I can do this myself. But know that I don't mean any ill will towards you, okay? It's just that I'm kind of set in my ways for a while, okay? And I promise, you know, to change in a way. I promise to ask for more help. I promise to be less stubborn. And I promise to learn how to work together with you guys and gals, okay? So please bear with me, all right? I thank you for that, though. And now, before I leave, though, there is, like, one more thing I would like to say, okay? Thank you. I just want to thank you guys all for sticking with me throughout this time, okay? And I know that some, if not most of you, have waited for my return, okay? And I deeply, deeply, deeply apologize for this, though. And for those of you who kind of like, you know, got a little angry and upset that I returned and everything, well, guess what? You don't get to choose what I do in my life, okay? All you could do is just sit back on the other side of that screen, just barking at me, yelling at me, or typing mean comments below my videos and everything. That's all you can do, okay? It's like I said before to this one guy, okay? What can you do besides the things what more can you do besides the things you've already done, okay? I said that so many times to that guy, and he said, oh, this and that and everything. Okay, then do this and do that. And then what happens afterwards? If it didn't work, though, what else can you do? It's simple as that, okay? Because some, if not most of us, are tough behind the screen and everything. Oh, we get to do this. We do these things and then that thing, and it's crazy. You know what I mean? But then when you're standing in front of an adversary, right, or an enemy, right, this is the time to back up your words with, you know, with action and everything. And me, I make good on my promises. Not always, but I make good on that, okay? But anyways, though, thank you all so much for coming. I know this has been a tough ride, especially for me, of course. And I know I'm late in the new year of 2025, and I will be trying to post more videos soon. And yes, of course, I have to add that, you know, to my other New Year's resolution. This is another continuous one. I'll try to post videos more often. I'll try to aim for at least once a week, you know, for a consistent schedule. So there's that. And thank you all so much for coming. And yeah, happy belated New Year 2025. I hope you guys are making good on your progress on your New Year's resolutions. And with that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And of course, I'll see you all next time.